Well, I went to see Tenet. I mean, I've been really looking forward to going to see it and going back to the cinema. I had seen a few films in the cinema before it, and in fact, I saw it on the same day that I saw New Mutants. I saw this in the morning. So the first thing is, I enjoyed it. It was a big, spectacular, well-made movie that I was seeing in a cinema, and I saw it in a very nice cinema with great social distancing, and everyone being very compliant, and that was really good. So that experience was terrific. I enjoyed being in the hands of Christopher Nolan, who is a director that I trust, and also a director who I trust to trust his audience. I said, on the subject of Inception, that it's a film that doesn't talk down to its audience. It imagines that the audience will keep up. I really liked the performances. I thought John David Washington's a great lead. I thought Elizabeth Debicki actually does really well with a role that I know some people have troubles with, or problems with. I think we'll hear from that in the correspondence later on. Robert Pattinson was great fun. Kenneth Branagh being being the kind of, I mean, honestly, you've seen the clips of him doing, well, that is the performance that he does. It is so incredibly sinister. It's just great fun. Tim Capaldi was really charismatic. Looks great. I know that they originated on 70mm and IMAX, and the sound was big, and so a big cinema experience. But I know there's been a lot of stuff spoken about problems with hearing some of the dialogue, and I have to say that I did share some of those concerns. There is a lot of noise going on in the background. There is a lot of dialogue, and there were lines that got lost. And here's the problem: it a lot of the time that wouldn't matter, but when you've got a film which asks you to pay such close attention to detail, there is no such thing as a throwaway comment. I don't believe that there is a single line in Tenet that you could actually get rid of with it being inconsequential, because of the way that Nolan, who has worked on the script for ages and ages and ages, put it together. So it did bother me that some of the what comes down to exposition was muffled, and that it is a problem with Tenet, that you really need to hear every single word. Now, I don't know whether everyone has had the same experience, but I know that I'm not the only one to say that there were times that I was thinking, okay, there's stuff being said here that I'm not getting, and that does bother me. The thing I found most interesting was the thing that actually we had talked about before the film was made, because of the title, the palindromic structure, and there were these ideas about whether or not the whole film would be palindromic, which it doesn't turn out to be. But I loved the set pieces in which you essentially see the same scene from two different angles, one going one way and then seeing it again going the other way. There's a car chase which features very heavily in the trailer, in which this works particularly well. However, in the final confrontation, the final set piece, I did find myself going, hang on. Why is that going forward and that going backwards? And I had a sense that I'm sure all of this makes sense, because I'm sure that Nolan knows exactly why everyone is doing everything at the moment they're doing it, but I don't. And in fact, there was a point when I thought, okay, what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to come back and see this again. I will go back and see it again, because I just actually didn't. I did find myself going, hold on, why is that there? Why is that? Where's that? Why? And I said, because I trust Nolan, I'm sure it all matches up, but it wasn't matching up for me. But this brings me to the central hesitation that I have about it. Having said all those things about how much I enjoyed it, in The Prestige, which is for me the kind of top of the Nolan tree, we're left wondering at the end of the film which of several possible truths is true. In fact, recently I just read a brilliant essay which suggested that the whole cloning thing is a MacGuffin. It's not. That's not what's happening. In fact, the whole thing is that because there's so much stuff in the film about you're looking for the trick, but you're looking in the wrong place. Listen to what this character says. You're looking in the wrong place. And I thought that was fascinating, because you can read The Prestige in a number of different ways. At the end of Inception, is he awake? Is he asleep? Is the spinning top, is it starting to wobble, or isn't it? The problem for me is that I came away from Tenet with loads of questions, but the questions were technical rather than philosophical. They're mechanical. Why is he going forward when that's going backwards? How does an inverse bullet actually work? And these are problems that I'm sure could be solved, if not by a second viewing, but then by a third viewing. And I'm sure that if Christopher Nolan was there and you were pressing pause, you go, hang on, why is that? Why is that? And he would have an answer for every single thing. But the answers are less philosophically interesting than, for example, the reverse narrative of Memento, or the dream state narrative of Inception, or the magic trick narrative of Prestige. So I came out of it thinking, okay, I'm definitely going to go back and see that again. I did enjoy watching it. I have many, many questions, but the questions are mainly what and how, as opposed to the wider question of what does it mean? And for me, the best Nolan films are about that wider question, and that's what gives me the emotional involvement. And on the first viewing, I didn't get that gut emotional involvement that I have had with previous Nolan films. So I do have many questions. I did enjoy it. I do want to go back and see it again. But the questions are, for me, primarily mechanical rather than philosophical.
Okay, so we'll come to your correspondence about Tenet, the other side of the news, just in 30 seconds. A friend said to me, is it not a failure of storytelling that almost everybody is saying, I have to go back and see it again? Should it not be possible to get and understand and follow, comprehend first time round?
Well, you know, I think there is something in that. I mean, I think one of the great things about Inception is that it's a really complicated story, but it does explain itself. Um, I don't have a problem with going back to see Tenet again because I'm actually I mean I love all those timey-wimey things. It's that's something that works for
Timey-wimey,
me.
right?
Yeah, but you know what I mean by timey-wimey. It's like it's
Yes, I do.
it's the it's the Austin Powers thing. But I think there is a legitimate question, which is if you're. I mean, I my I've spoken to somebody who went to see it who said, and this is what they said. They said I came out of it feeling stupid. And I said, why? And they said, because I didn't understand it. And I said, well, it's okay. But what point did you stop understanding it? And I said, well, that's exactly the same point that I think everyone stops understanding it. And then the question is, okay, is the problem then with our inability to keep up or that the storytelling isn't clear enough?
Okay.
And
Well,
I actually don't know what the correct answer to that is, but I think it's not that we're all, I said, I love the fact that Christopher Nolan imagines that an audience can keep up with things. There
okay.
just may be a storytelling issue if we can't.